So the last Apple event was an hour and a half of pure tech joy. I'm gonna try to condense this down to 7 minutes. Let's go. Apple has launched 2 iPads, 4 phones, and 1 watch. Let's start with the iPads. According to Apple, the new iPad is 6 times faster than the leading Android competitor. This is thanks to their A13 chip, which is now 20% faster than the previous version. The iPad also supports the Apple Pencil and comes with a starting capacity of 64GB storage. The most significant upgrade in the iPad is actually their front camera, which is now a 12-megapixel sensor, and it has the wide-angle lens with what they call center stage, which is basically an AI that tracks your face and then moves the frame around to match you, which makes for definitely much better video calling. Moving on. In my opinion, the iPad mini has seen the biggest updates. We have, and I count them off, a pen, USB-C, 5G, a 40% CPU boost, and an 80% boost for graphics card. Quite impressive there, Apple. Apple claims they have a better speaker, but they didn't really spend a lot of time on it, so it remains to be seen. The rear camera on the iPad mini has a 12-megapixel sensor, can record 4K video and shoot HDR photos. But the biggest improvement still is the front-facing camera, which is also 12 megapixels with that wide-angle lens and the center stage, which tracks your movements around and makes video calls a lot more interesting. Now, before I get to the iPhones, let's talk about the Watch Series 7 real quick. It has a 20% bigger screen, which is also 40% brighter. It has faster charging, and the shape of the screen makes it even stronger than before. But with the watch, most of the improvements actually seem to be coming from software. They've increased the size of the buttons so that you can use your device more easily. They have improved their integration with bicycles, including e-bikes. They have fall detection, which is really useful for elderly. Good job there. And they also demonstrated a full-size keyboard on a tiny little screen, which seems like it might be tricky to use, but they're saying it's AI driven, so that it has predictive text so that you can write easily. Now let's talk about the reason you're probably here, is the 4 new iPhones. So the iPhone 13 and the 13 mini are going to be quite similar. One will just be smaller than the other. They both come with their A15 Bionic chip, which uses 5nm technology and packs a lot of punch. They have 6 cores. 2 of those cores will be fast, and 4 will be slow, which saves power. They also have a 4-core GPU for games and graphics, and a 16-core AI chip, which they call their neural engine. Now, this is the most interesting thing, because traditionally speaking, the AIs, they run on LTE or 5G. They send the data to the server processes, sends it back. Now, with the new AI chip, Siri can actually run on your device, which is going to make a hell of a difference in the wait times. So you don't have to be like, hey Siri, wait. And Siri goes, yes? Now you can just start talking. It can also recognize text instantly off of billboards and such. So you can take a picture and just scan the text. Very, very nifty stuff. I'm really looking forward to playing with that. Speaking of the phones though, another thing that's really cool is they have gone back to the boxy design of the Apple iPhone 4, which is literally my personal favorite shape of any of the iPhones. They've also decreased the size of the notch by 20%. Anyways, on the device itself, the screen is now improved because it's brighter. I'm sure you've heard the rumors of the camera being updated. This is actually quite cool. The new iPhone cameras all use a bigger sensor, which means that the images and videos that you take are going to have a lot less noise. These bigger sensors also have image stabilization, where the sensor moves around to stop your handshake from destroying the footage. And most interestingly, it comes with a cinema mode. This is where it uses a AI filter, so to speak, to track what's going to be in focus and what should be out of focus. And you can actually change focus after filming your video, which is dope. But let's talk about the iPhone Pro lineups. Under the hood, the main difference is that the graphics processor is upgraded. It has 6 cores instead of 4. And it has this really cool adaptable frame rate feature where if an app needs to run at 120 Hz, for example a game, it can do so. But if you're just looking at a picture, your screen doesn't need to refresh at 120 Hz, it just wastes power. So it brings the refresh rate all the way back down to 10. That's actually a really genius idea for reducing power consumption in a phone. As we know, 120 Hz frame rate phones consume a lot of electricity from the battery. But of course the biggest difference is in the back of the phone, which is 3 cameras instead of 2 cameras. 3, 2, yeah. So these cameras can do HDR, they have image stabilization and 6 times optical zoom. There's also the ability to customize your image style based on the layers of processing instead of just applying a filter. So the amount of customization you get for photography is a lot deeper, if that makes sense. But let's talk about the video because, and I quote, "Professional film camera. It is the birth of a genre and changes the language of cinema." Some pretty big claims there. So what they're trying to say is this phone shoots at 4K 30 frames per second, which in itself is not very impressive. A lot of devices these days shoot 4K 30. The main difference being is it saves the footage in ProRes. If you're wondering what ProRes means, it's similar to a standard MP4 file, but it's just a lot bigger and saves a lot more information per frame of the picture. This allows you to do better color correction. This allows you to save more information in the highlights and the shadows. Simple. Of course, the iPhone 13 Pro also retains the feature to change focus after you filmed, which is really nice. And it also has slow-mo and macro at the same time. So slow motion macro shots, for example, if I have my cup of tea, I can be like really close to the edge of the tea in slow motion and show the steam coming off. It's gonna look pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing some Instagram stuff coming out of people's iPhones. It's gonna look glorious. Time to wrap things up. Overall, Apple is saying they've made a device where you can record a movie and edit it all on the same device. I'm sure you've heard the saying before, it's better to get a good phone instead of a bad camera if you're starting out making videos. And yeah, Apple seems to be leaning forwards, leaning right into that. So you've been awesome. I've been Taff. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.